Everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering what is really going on with Angel Reese. Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky?
To be fixed, and I don't give a damn if I get fined because that shit cheap, and I am tired of the shit. Because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am tired of the shit.
Game, her team won the championship game without her, and she feel like she was supposed to get a ring or whatever. I don't know.
Angel Reese, once hailed as the Chicago Sky's franchise player, has vanished again. This time, it's not just a missed game. It's a full-on meltdown.
Angel Reese has thrown in the towel. She refuses to travel with the team. Once again, the team has a road game. We already saw she refused to travel with the team to Indiana versus the Fever.
After reportedly abandoning the team mid-season, Reese has left a trail of questions and a sinking reputation. And here's the real kicker. The Sky are playing better without her. So what's going on? Is Reese really the future of this team, or is she just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode?
Once she was eliminated from the Rookie of the Year, she said her wrist was hurt. Unrivaled, she did not finish. She didn't even show up to the championship game.
Let's break it down. Let's rewind to when Reese first joined the Chicago Sky. She was hailed as the future of the franchise, a player who could carry the team on her back and make them contenders year in and year out. Her talent was undeniable, but the real question was always whether she could handle the pressure. Could she live up to the hype, or would she fold under the weight of expectations? The answer, unfortunately, has become clearer with time.
Angel, you gotta be, you have to have some level of self-awareness here.
Instead of becoming the team's leader, Reese has become known for her disappearing acts, both physically and mentally. And let's be clear, this isn't some random occurrence. This is a pattern, and it's starting to become hard to ignore. Fans had high hopes for a player who was meant to be the heart and soul of the Sky. But now, those same fans are beginning to question whether Reese is actually hurting the team more than helping it.
Obviously, showing a complete lack of leadership. Man. Caitlin Clark's been hurt. She traveling with the team, supporting on the bench.
When the team needs her most, she's nowhere to be found. Whether it's on the court, in the locker room, or on the sidelines, Reese has consistently checked out when her presence was most needed. How do you expect to lead a team if you're consistently the one bailing when the going gets tough? The numbers speak for themselves. The Sky have struggled without her, but they've struggled even harder when she's been on the court, and that's something no one can deny.
Back a little bit. You can't want to be the villain. You can't pride yourself in being the villain, and then you lose, and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions.
This isn't a one-off, and it's not some freak accident. No, this has become a pattern. For the past 3 seasons, Reese has bailed on her team at critical moments. 2 seasons with the Chicago Sky and 1 in the unrivaled league. Each time, when the going got tough, Reese was nowhere to be found. You can almost set your watch to it. When the losing streak hits, she suddenly becomes unavailable. It's not bad luck, it's a full-on strategy. The second things go south, Reese checks out. It's almost impressive how she manages to time it perfectly. In fact, this pattern has become so predictable that fans can almost bet on it.
The Chicago Sky, you guys are the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They need Angel Reese to play in games. Angel, where you at? Where are you at, Angel? This is nuts.
When the team starts sliding down the standings, here comes Reese with the mysterious injury or the sudden personal issues that conveniently keep her from stepping up. It's almost as if she has a 6th sense for when things are about to go downhill, and rather than face the challenge, she checks out. Fans are left scratching their heads, wondering how someone who was supposed to be their cornerstone can suddenly disappear when they need her most.
Hey, look, bro, you gotta remember, she quit in Unrivaled. She just stopped playing in Unrivaled. Said she was hurt, didn't show up for the championship game, didn't even show up and watch. Last season, she claimed her wrist was messed up, didn't finish playing in none of the games.
But let's be real here. At some point, this pattern stops being about bad luck and starts being about a lack of character. You can't keep pointing to injuries or vague excuses when your team is falling apart and you're the one who's supposed to be holding it all together. At some point, it becomes clear that Reese isn't the leader they thought she was.
I heard she was at the practice, but you did not travel with the team to the game. I think that's kind of whack, I'm not gonna lie. The leader of the team's supposed to be there.
And now, enter the back injury. Convenient, isn't it? Just when the team hits rock bottom, suddenly Reese is day-to-day with an injury that's been dragging on for weeks with no real updates. No medical reports, no progress updates, just silence. Back injuries are tricky, sure, but here's the thing, they also make for the perfect excuse. After all, who's going to question an injury when it's something as vague as a back issue? It's the ideal way to avoid taking responsibility.
The Indiana Fever are 7-1. I repeat, the Fever are 7-1 in 2 years against the Chicago Sky.
What's worse is the lack of transparency. Normally, when an injury occurs, the team provides regular updates, something like probable, questionable, or out. Not with Reese. No, her file seems to have disappeared into thin air. There's no word on whether she's recovering, no news on her rehab, and no updates from the team about her condition.
She didn't even show up to that. Now she's not showing up, traveling with the team in the third straight season, 2 at the Chicago Sky and 1 in Unrivaled. It is becoming a pattern.
It's almost as if she's been placed in some kind of injury witness protection program. This lack of clarity doesn't just raise eyebrows, it breeds suspicion. Now, we're not saying back injuries aren't real, but let's be honest, back pain is one of the most difficult injuries to prove. You can't exactly run an MRI every time someone claims to be hurt. It's the perfect injury to get away with. And that's the problem. She knows that the team can't really question her commitment when she says, "I'm hurt, I need to take time off." But fans aren't stupid. They're starting to put the pieces together, and it's not looking good for Reese.
It's not about black and white. It's about that white player and that black player. Why? Because of the history that they had before they came to the WNBA.
And then there's the time Reese refused to travel with the team for one of the biggest games of the season, the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever. This wasn't just any regular game, this was a rivalry match that could have sparked the Sky's season back to life. But Reese? She didn't show up. Not on the court, not even on the bench, nowhere to be found. She was reportedly at practice, but couldn't bother to travel with her team for a crucial game.
Chicago Sky, you quit. You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year.
It's one thing to be injured and sit out of a game, but it's another thing entirely to not even show up to support your teammates. This wasn't a minor matchup. This was against one of the most important teams in the league, the Indiana Fever, led by none other than Caitlin Clark, a game that would have brought fans, media, and attention. A game where every player needed to step up. But where was Reese? Not in the building. And let's not forget, she's perfectly capable of traveling. Reese has been spotted at numerous non-game events. We've all seen her shelling for cameras at All-Star Weekend, showing off her best angles and soaking up the spotlight. But when it's time to actually show up for her team, to be there in the face of adversity, she's nowhere to be found. It's bad optics, and it's getting worse.
Being honest, maybe more reason why she's out right now might be secretly shopping her. They're not secretly shopping her. You don't fake back injuries. You don't fake back injuries. Running from the grind, man.
Reese's disappearing acts aren't just causing problems within the team, they're starting to tick off fans. With every game she misses, the backlash grows. Fans are no longer sitting idly by, accepting the excuses. They're questioning her commitment, her loyalty, and most importantly, her leadership. And let's face it, when the face of the franchise can't even show up for the big games, that's a major PR nightmare. Chicago fans want to see their star player fight through adversity, not run away from it. They want to know that even if she can't play, she's there, supporting her teammates. Instead, all they get is silence, and that silence speaks volumes. Now, when a team is struggling, fans need to see a leader step up. They need to see someone who's willing to fight for the team, even if it means sitting on the bench or cheering from the sidelines. But when your star player keeps disappearing, that's not just a bad look, it's a slap in the face to the fans who bought tickets, tuned in, and believed in the hype. Fans are fed up, and it's only a matter of time before they start demanding answers.
Like, she is asking for a trade. Or she's at least implying she wants to be traded. Because at the end of the day, you just never know.
But let's talk about what's really happening on the court. Without Reese, the Chicago Sky actually look better. The offense moves more fluidly. The ball doesn't stick. Guards can run plays without waiting for a forced post-up. Wings cut harder. The spacing improves. Even the bench is more engaged. It's almost like the team breathes easier without her clogging up the offense. And guess what? The numbers back this up. The Sky have actually been performing better when she's not on the floor. So, the real question is, does Reese's presence even move the needle, or is she just an overhyped star, holding back her team? This is the reality that fans and analysts are starting to recognize. Chicago is playing better basketball without their so-called leader. The team moves more cohesively, the offense flows more naturally, and the pressure to get the ball to one player has lifted. Even the bench players are more engaged when they know they're not just standing around waiting for a star player to make a move. That's the real kicker. This team has more energy, more momentum, and better results without Reese on the floor. So the question is, what's the real impact of her being there? Fans are starting to see that maybe her reputation doesn't match the reality of her performance.
Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating, what is this back injury?
Reese's absence during the biggest rivalry game wasn't just a bad look. It was a calculated move. The Sky needed her. Fans needed her. But Reese, she needed a getaway. We can't ignore the timing of it all. Just as the team is struggling, Reese falls ill or has a back injury that mysteriously keeps her from traveling. Is it a coincidence, or is she strategically avoiding an embarrassing defeat? Whatever the case, one thing is clear. Reese's absence during such a crucial game raises some serious questions about her commitment to the team. The timing could not have been worse. The Sky were on the brink of a major loss, and Reese was missing when they needed her most. She wasn't hurt. She was hiding. And whether she wants to admit it or not, her refusal to travel with the team for this high-stakes game paints a picture of a player more concerned with protecting her reputation than actually fighting for her team. It was the perfect excuse to avoid the inevitable humiliation, but it didn't go unnoticed. Fans saw right through it. What makes this even more infuriating for fans is that Reese isn't the only player who's dealing with injuries. Players like Caitlin Clark have been pushing through their own battles with injuries, showing up for their teams and cheering from the bench when they can't play. That's the kind of leadership Reese was expected to show. Instead, she pulled a Houdini and disappeared when the spotlight was the brightest.
I think Whitlock is onto something. I see other people talking about this.
Reese's track record of bailing at the worst times didn't stop with the Sky. It continued into the unrivaled season. While her team was fighting for a championship, where was Reese? Not at the game, not supporting her teammates. She didn't even show up in street clothes to cheer them on. This wasn't just a missed opportunity, it was a missed chance to prove her value. How do you claim to be a competitor and then vanish when the stakes are the highest? Her absence during the biggest game of the season was the final nail in the coffin for many fans who were already questioning her commitment. It's one thing to be injured or unavailable, but it's another thing entirely to not even show up to show support. When a team is fighting for a title, every single player needs to be all in, even if it means sitting on the bench. Instead, Reese's absence sent the message that she wasn't invested in her team's success at all. She wasn't even willing to show up for them in their most important moment. That's the kind of behavior that alienates fans and teammates alike.
The back injury. Everybody's questioning it now, and this will be a third straight season where Angel Reese did not finish playing in games.
Let's not forget the suspicious timing of Reese's injuries. Every time the team hits a losing streak, she conveniently gets hurt. Back issues, wrist injuries, you name it. It's the same story year after year. Right when things start to get tough, Reese gets injured. But the real question is it really just bad luck? Or is she masterfully timing her breaks to avoid being part of the failure? One thing's for sure, the timing is uncanny, and it's becoming too obvious to ignore. Fans are no longer buying the day-to-day injury updates. The timing of Reese's injuries is starting to raise serious doubts. Every time the team faces a tough stretch, Reese's injury suddenly flares up, keeping her out of action. This isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern. It's a pattern that fans are beginning to see for what it is, a way for Reese to avoid taking responsibility when the team needs her most. It's also worth noting how the team performs without her. The moment Reese is off the floor, things seem to improve. The offense looks better, the defense is tighter, and the overall energy is higher. This is a direct contrast to the way things go when she's playing. When she's on the court, It often feels like the ball is stuck in her hands, and the team is forced to play around her style rather than a cohesive, fluid game. Fans are noticing that the team does better without her, and that only amplifies the suspicion that Reese's injuries aren't just physical, they're strategic. Reese has built a reputation for making excuses, but how many times can she keep hiding behind them? Fans are tired of hearing about her back issues or whatever injury happens to be the excuse this week. They want to see a player who's willing to fight through adversity, not someone who uses their injuries as an excuse to disappear when things get tough. The fans aren't the only ones frustrated. Her teammates are starting to feel the strain too. In a game where every player needs to step up, it's hard for others to remain motivated when they're constantly picking up the slack for someone who checks out when the pressure is on. Reese's behavior is starting to rub off on her team, and it's only a matter of time before the entire roster starts to question her commitment. The Chicago Sky are at a crossroads. With Reese's future on the line and her career in jeopardy, the team has to decide whether they want to continue investing in a player who can't seem to show up when it matters most. But the truth is, the Sky have proven they can be more successful without her. As the franchise faces a future without their supposed star player, the question becomes, is it time for Chicago to move on from Angel Reese? If the Sky are going to rebuild and find success, they may need to cut ties with Reese. The franchise needs players who are willing to give it their all, who will show up when the going gets tough, and who can inspire their teammates to push through the hard times. If Reese can't be that player, then maybe it's time for the Sky to find someone who can. So here we are, 3 straight seasons, and every single time, Reese's behavior follows the same script. She checks out when the going gets tough, leaving her team to pick up the pieces. As the Chicago Sky sit at 8-2-24, lawsuits piling up, and the fans questioning the future, we can't help but ask, is Reese really the future of this team, or is it time to move on? One thing's for sure, if she keeps this up, she won't just be leaving the team behind. She might be leaving her career in the dust as well. Reese's career is now at a crossroads, and the next few months could determine whether she's remembered as a forgotten star or as one of the greatest disappointments in the league's history. Stay tuned, because you won't want to miss what happens next in this ongoing saga. If there's one thing we can count on, it's that Angel Reese's career is far from over. The question is, will she rise to the occasion, or will she continue her pattern of self-destruction?